All right, let's go to this now. The 7 stories tall Nasdaq Tower in Times Square, New York City is celebrating 30 years of democracy with South Africa. And at about 6 p.m. South African time, the tower will beam images of the country to those in the Big Apple's most famous square. SABC News U.S. correspondent Sharon Bryce-Peace joins us live now for more. Sharon, iconic images to be in full display, of course, telling the story of South Africa's democracy. What else can people expect?
Well, they don't call Times Square the crossroads of the world for nothing, Bongawe. And so we are taking a little moment, a reprieve from some of the bad news that has proliferated our channels over the last few months, and really reflecting on 30 years of democracy as we build up, of course, that significant date on the 27th of April this year. Behind me, we are standing at the foot of the Nasdaq Tower. And of course, a long-standing relationship between South Africa and between the South African consulate and Nasdaq. They will beam images that speak to the 30 years of democracy under the theme 30 years of democracy, partnership and growth. And just one of many events that are planned in New York over the next week. We also will have a South African flag raising ceremony downtown in collaboration with the New York Mayor's office. Of course, the Mayor of New York, Eric Adams, and he's likely to show up there on Friday for that flag raising ceremony. He's done so in the past. And then on Monday, a big event hosted by Shared Interest. Shared Interest is the micro-lending NGO that was formed some 30 years ago in tandem with South Africa's democracy. And what they do is they make micro-lending to small-scale farmers in the SADC region, particularly countries like South Africa, and in particular investing in small-scale farms that are run by women. And they're having what they're calling a Voices of Change Gala. Some of the titans of industry that will be honored at that gala include Lebogang Morake, also known as Lebo M, of course, a theater titan, and the former SA Grammy-winning producer of The Lion King. And then they will also be honoring Wendy Luhabe for her work in South Africa's women's economic development. And they call her a champion and entrepreneur. Of course, forgive the noise around me, Bongawe. A lot of organization and setting up still going on here. And among the speakers at that event will be Redi Klabi, Naomi Tutu, a race and gender activist and the daughter of the late Archbishop Emeritus Desmond Tutu, and also some familiar faces. It will include Felicia Mabuza-Suttle. But to talk about today's event, I am now joined by South Africa's acting consul general to New York City, Ishmael Iso. CG, good to see you as always. Talk about today's event and the significance of it.
Thank you, Sharon Bryce. Thank you for giving me the opportunity, and good day to our listeners, our viewers, basically. Here we are standing at Nasdaq Towers, one of these major stock exchange with which we have a partnership over the last few years. This is our third partnership with Nasdaq, and we've been partnering in this significant year of South Africa celebrating its 30th anniversary of democracy and freedom. We are again in partnership with Nasdaq, where they will be beaming some images of South Africa's celebrities, the icons like the former icon and statesperson Nelson Mandela, and other entities and other celebrities that were sending messages for our 30 years of democracy. April, as you know, resonates with the month of when we first held our elections on the 27th of April 1994. And this year, under the theme Democracy and Partnerships and Growth, we have this major theme where we're celebrating South Africa's 30th anniversary. We have, as Sherwin alluded to, other events as well. We have the upcoming event on Friday with the mayor's, with the office of the mayor, the flag raising event. As Sherwin has also said, we have the event Big Gala with shared interest on Monday evening. We also have planned other events during the course of the year, basically taking place on the national days or the public holidays, for example, like Youth Day, Nelson Mandela Day, and the other public holidays. We have events planned for those years. In terms of our other embassies, the embassy in Washington and our consulate in Los Angeles, basically.
CG, let me ask you this, right? I mean, New York has really been a good friend to South Africa over the years. We also obviously recall that former President Nelson Mandela, soon after his release from prison, made this one of his first international stops, invited here by then Mayor, the first black mayor of New York, David Dinkins. Talk about the significance of the relationship between New York City, right? The powerhouse, the economic powerhouse powerhouse of the United States. And of course, South Africa, which I might tell you, the IMF has just let us know that South Africa is now back as the largest economy in Africa. Talk about this long-standing relationship, if you will.
Indeed, sir. Indeed, sir. Thank you, Sherman. With New York, we don't only have a relationship with the mayor's office and other entities. As you rightfully say, it's a financial powerhouse. We have also our other entities. We have SA Tourism here. We have Brand South Africa here. And we are in partnership with the arts people as well. We're in partnership with Carnegie Hall, who's bringing lots of South African stars and artists in the course of August till October in the summer season here to perform basically at Carnegie Hall. We also in with the Manhattan School of Music. We are partnered. We have a group of South Africans, musicians and artists who are out here on scholarships, who are at universities, who are also excelling in a particular field. So basically, it's just not about business. It's about the arts, the creative industries that we're excelling in here as well.
Final question for you. It is also, of course, home to the United Nations. And we know the pivotal role that the United Nations played in South Africa's transition to democracy. It continues to be a venue where we can discuss issues around questions of human rights. New York has a very strong relationship and bond with South Africa in so many respects. I'll give you the final word.
Not only in New York, basically, and all over, Americans have been empathetic towards South Africa's historical times during apartheid and brought us here where we are, basically. We greatly appreciate the relationship we have America, not only because of the UN being here, basically at the multilateral and the bilateral level. We appreciate the assistance and especially around the 30th anniversary, they appreciate the assistance we receive from entities like America and other UN bodies, basically.
Ismail Issa, as always, thank you so much for making time for us. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
South Africa's Acting Consul General Ismail Issa speaking to us here about the event that is about to happen in about 20 minutes from now. The Nasdaq Tower behind me, this massive screen here in Times Square will be lit up with images that speak to South Africa's 30 years of democracy and really part of the celebratory build-up to the 27th of April. A number of events, including a gala on Monday hosted by Shared Interest, where a number of big names from South Africa will be honored. So join us at the top of the hour when those images will be broadcast live here on the SABC News channel. Back to you in studio.
Thank you very much. That's my colleague there, Sherwin Braspies. We will bring you those visuals, those iconic images at 6 p.m. Of course, as the event then kicks off. Sherwin will bring us the very latest.